I've lived in my house for nearly 10 years without any issues. It's a quiet neighborhood, mostly retirees and families. We've got wide streets, big driveways, and plenty of room for everyone. Or so I thought, until the HOA president, Karen, decided my truck was her new obsession. Now I drive a big F-250. It's not flashy, not lifted to the heavens, just a solid work truck. I park it in my driveway because, well, where else should I park it? It fits perfectly, doesn't block sidewalks, doesn't spill into the street. But apparently, Karen thought it destroyed the visual harmony of the neighborhood. It started with notes taped to my windshield. This vehicle is not in compliance with community standards. Trucks of this size are considered commercial and must be stored off-site. Final warning before fines are issued. I ignored them. The HOA handbook I signed when I bought the house said nothing about personal trucks being banned. Commercial vehicles with signage, yes. Junk cars, yes. But a clean, registered pickup in my driveway? Nowhere in the rules. Then came the fine. One Saturday morning, I opened my mail and found a letter. You are hereby fined $500 for violation of HOA policy regarding improper vehicle storage. Payment due in 30 days. I nearly spit out my coffee. $500. For parking in my own driveway. I marched down to the HOA office, letter in hand. Karen was there, sitting behind the desk like a queen on her throne. Karen, I said, what the hell is this? There's no rule against parking my truck in my driveway. She smirked. It falls under the clause about preserving community aesthetics. Oversized vehicles are unsightly. You're lowering property values. I pulled out my copy of the HOA covenants. Show me where it says that. She flipped through the pages, stalling. Finally, she jabbed at a vague sentence. Homeowners must ensure their property and vehicles align with community standards. That's not a rule, I said. That's fluff language. If you wanted trucks banned, it would be listed like RVs or boats. Karen sniffed. The board has discretion. If you don't like it, take it up with the judge. So I did. I filed a small claims case against the HOA for unlawful fines and harassment. First, they laughed it off. Then they got a summons in the mail. Suddenly, Karen wasn't smirking anymore. On the day of court, I showed up in jeans and boots with my binder of documents. The HOA handbook, photos of my truck parked neatly in the driveway, and copies of every threatening letter they sent. The HOA brought their lawyer, and Karen, of course, dressed like she was going to a cocktail party. The judge called us up. Plaintiff, present your case. I laid it out simply. Your Honor, the HOA fined me $500 for parking my personal vehicle in my driveway. The covenants don't ban trucks. They overreached their authority. I handed over the documents. The judge flipped through them, nodding. Then it was the HOA's turn. Their lawyer launched into a long speech about neighborhood character and property values. Karen even stood up and declared, "That truck is an eyesore. It makes us look like a trailer park." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, personal opinions aren't enforceable law. Show me the rule that prohibits his truck." The lawyer stammered, shuffled papers, and finally admitted, "There isn't one explicitly." That was all the judge needed. He leaned forward. The HOA acted outside its authority by issuing this fine. I order the fine to be rescinded immediately. Furthermore, the HOA will reimburse the plaintiff for court costs and pay damages of $1,000 for harassment. Karen's jaw hit the floor. What? He's the one ruining the neighborhood. The judge banged his gavel. Case dismissed. When I walked out, I couldn't stop grinning. Not only did I not owe the $500, but the HOA had to cut me a check for double that. A week later, the reimbursement arrived in the mail, signed by none other than Karen herself. I framed the letter, and the best part? My truck is still parked proudly in my driveway every single day. Sometimes I even wash it slowly out front just so Karen has to watch. Because nothing looks better in this neighborhood than justice served.